So, I've just got back from my local refuse site and I nearly left. I checked everything, there was nothing there that I wanted. And then just as I was leaving that main shed, you guys know the main shed, one of the guys walked down with this. And my jaw dropped slightly, but anyway, quickly took it off his hands and thanked him for it. He just got it because people drop them in one area and then the boys sort through them. Anyway, this is a Victor deck with a Honda overhead cam GCV 160, and just feeling the deck, it's solid, it's thick, you can just tell it's quality. It's in great condition really, besides the plastic here is a bit torn up and a little bit of fine few chips at the end. That will all clean up absolutely fine. It looked pretty good when I was there, but in terms of cleanliness, yeah, that's really not that bad. I mean, of course it's not fresh, but it's certainly not bad by any stretch of the imagination. Let's see what the height is. We're fairly level ground, it will be fine. Not certified for sale in the US, Canada or EU. Isn't that interesting? Maybe we've just got lower expectations in Australia. It has got an air filter. Pretty dirty. That will add to... oh, it's clean behind there. There is oil behind there actually, so it looks like maybe it's been tilted on the side. Ah, it's a swing back blade system. So a number of people haven't actually seen these in the US, and I don't think in England either they're not that common. In Australia, they're very common, and essentially if you hit something, the blades actually can pivot back and they don't damage the crankshaft. That's the design. But actually looking at it, besides being dull, in fact, they don't even look like they've even had a sharpen, ever. So they'd clean up really nicely. So far so good. Primer, no, nothing on this. That's interesting, nothing at all. Maybe there's a choke up. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, chokes up at the handle. That's cool. Let's see what happens. I just heard a click, like spark was grounding out. I literally just heard it go click. This is my butt. Got an NGK plug in there, it's got a decent plug. Of course it could just be the fuel. Let's try without choke. No. Nope. And you know as well as I do it's going to stink when I fire it up. I do have my fuel bottle. We'll see if we can put a bit of fuel in there and see if we can run it with a bit of fuel. Maybe get it started on that and see if it continues to run. Clinking and clanking, it didn't want to go to full throttle, so main jet might be plugged. In fact, it might just, yeah, it might be the main jet. We might be able to clear it by just running it slightly. That will need some TLC. See, it doesn't want to go any more than that. Go full throttle. So most likely, I mean it could be anything, but it could just literally be a blocked jet in the carby only letting a small amount of fuel through. I'll run it a little bit, and when I can get it to full throttle, I'll bottle feed it, and then I'll hit the choke and try and cause a bit of a vacuum. Have a look. time. You ready? Engines don't run on choke, or if they do, they run really badly. And it says this is start, so it must be, I'm gonna have to have a look behind here, it must be pulling on a butterfly, and yet that's also full throttle, whereas technically that should be full throttle. It's almost like the choke isn't working. So this is off. As I advance the throttle cable comes in, pulls on this little plate, which is also connected to your governor, and that is full throttle. Really, if you look closely in here, there's a gap between this choke lever here and this part of the throttle lever. So we should be a couple of millimeters more. Now, if I go on to choke, it only just starts to actuate the choke, but only slightly. So I think the throttle cable is actually stretched. Let's see if we can get just a smidgen more. Full throttle, there, choke, there. All right, now that we've just fixed the throttle cable, it should start up easily. So, full choke. I think the reason for why this engine was dumped was because the accelerator cable stretched slightly, the choke wouldn't work, and they couldn't get it to start. They might have been able to get it to start if they pulled it loads and loads of times and got a bit of fuel in the engine, but that's my guess, because I can't find anything else wrong with it. It was just, it wouldn't start because the choke wasn't closing. So there we go. All right, bye-bye.